Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I think the civil war in Ukraine started, and it started at the top at this point. And we have so far Zelensky with his little politicians and Zaluzny. Zelensky had the defense minister, the Tatar from Crimea, on his side, but doesn't have Zaluzny. The problem is Zaluzny has the military, not the defense minister. Zaluzny, the general, the commander-in-chief, has more power as an officer, commanding officer, than the defense minister. I understand the defense minister is above Zaluzny, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. But still, if this guy gives an order, this guy, the general, will be the one who will say yes, do it or don't do it. What's going on now? Very interesting situation. We have the commander of the special forces in Ukraine has been dismissed by someone who could not dismiss him. I'm going to tell you the process. Could dismiss him. It's a process. For instance, your supervisor, let's say you're at work, let's say you work on the front line over there, you're just, assembly line. The supervisor has to notify his supervisor that you do something. That's the chain of command. Your direct supervisor has to tell, the director or whomever about something that has to do with you, let's say firing. The guy in charge over there, the director, cannot fire you directly, or a different supervisor from a different department cannot recommend to the director you are firing. It has to be your direct supervisor. It's a certain policy. The same here in these videos that I have, in this article that I have here ready for you, about 5. I'm going to show you, it's going to be 2 contradicting policies. And the point is this: Zelensky wants to consolidate his side. How? With weapons. Like in any society, including the Canadian society, the American society, the guys with guns, which is the army, the military, and the intelligence community, they have the most power because potentially when the chips are down, they can go and take care of everyone and arrest everyone. Not the other way around, because in order for me to get arrested, the government will not send here a teacher. Will send a police officer with a gun. Okay, why? In case I say, what do you think that guy is going to do? Try to grab me. And if I arrest, oh no, I don't want that, what do you think he's going to do? So again, everything goes down to power. This kind of brute, animalic power that we have instinctually in our lives, like everybody else. The problem we have is that we think more in that direction than the animals, poor animals. So let's start with the first article. Coming from the Kiev Independent. Media: Zelensky replaces top commander at defense minister's request. You see, defense minister request. The problem is, according to this article, supposedly the defense minister who was appointed by Zelensky, so that should be Zelensky's man, in this case, he cannot appoint him. In this appointment, he cannot recommend the dismissal of the commander to Zelensky. Zelensky is the one who's going to fire him. He has the authority to fire, but he has to be recommended by, and I have 2 articles. One, they say the defense minister, and the other article claims that it's Zaluzny, the commander-in-chief. And guess what? This commander did not hear about his firing, but from the media. So the media, he found out, I'm fired? Yeah, you're fired. The media told him. Now, that's something going on over there. So let's look over this. Zelensky reportedly replaced Special Operations Forces commander. Why? Because they're going to put their men over there to fight Zaluzny. It's going to be, as I said before, factions in the Ukrainian military. You're going to have a civil war. Possibly. So they're putting their men with guns to make sure this is our men right here with these guns. Special operations, and Zaluzny with his men over here. Eventually, these idiots will fight for Zelensky. All right. Anyway, so let's go back here. So he dismissed Special Operation Forces Commander Viktor Khorenko at the request of Defense Minister Rustem Umerov, Ukrainska Pravda reported. Now, look down here, and what's over there? And I'm quoting. According to the law of Ukraine on national security, the commanders of departments and separate branches of the armed forces of Ukraine are appointed and dismissed by the President Zelensky of Ukraine at the request of the defense minister, which is this fat boy. All right? So this fat boy tells the weasel, which is Zelensky, I don't know if it's right here, tells this guy, so fat boy tells Zelensky, hey, I recommend that this guy right here is fired. So this is the guy who's fired by this weasel at the recommendation of this one. All right? Not at the recommendation of that guy on the right. Got it? So I put faces on names because that's the way it's beautiful. So this guy, which is Zaluzny, did not recommend to this guy. Why? The firing, because this guy doesn't know shit. This guy goes and asks this guy, and this guy says, I don't know anything about it. It was between the fat boy and, where is he? Jesus. And the weasel. Got that? So the weasel with the fat boy screwed this guy, and this guy did not know it. The guy right here on the right. So, okay, let's go to this next article with this guy. This is the commander. Former Special Operations Forces Commander Khorenko learns of his dismissal from news. According to Ukrainska Pravda, today, yesterday, the 3rd of November. So, Major General Viktor Khorenko does not know the reason for his dismissal from the post of Commander of Special Operations Forces. Valery Zaluzny, which is this guy, right? Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, did not submit a request for his dismissal. And we read here, the Commander-in-Chief, which is this guy, is supposed to make the request for this. But he told me that he had not done so. I don't understand what has happened. I told you. Fat boy with weasel destroyed you. Got it? And it says here, the persons responsible for communication with the armed forces, the defense forces, have not given me such information at the moment. The mass media said so. And then look at this. I'm going to go to the next article. Fat boy. Right? This guy is the guy who is the same article, but it says that the firing of Khorenko, one of top commanders, caused some confusion at the commanders himself. Said he learned about his dismissal from the media and was surprised. And he's going to go and says here, Khorenko told Ukrainska Pravda, he asked the commander-in-chief, which is this guy right here, okay? Where is it? This is it right here. Of the armed forces, Valery Zaluzny, about his dismissal. And Zaluzny, quote-unquote, could not explain it to him. And he says Zaluzny told him he didn't request his firing. So that tells me that this thing, this fat boy here, in the first article, when they say according to the law, blah, 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 is not accurate. Since here they said I didn't request your firing, my boy. So, and again, they mentioned this one right here. You see what? According to the law of Ukraine on national security, the commander of the departments and separate branches of Ukraine are appointed and dismissed by the President of the United States. Yeah, that's exactly. Ukraine at the request of the Defense Minister of Ukraine. So again, such a submission was received by the presidential office in accordance with the current legislation. So he's out. Next, right here. This is the same. It says Zelensky dismissed Special Operations Forces Commander Khorenko at the defense minister's request. And again, this is the third time they tell us this. In each article I had, in each article they mention this. The office of the president received such a submission following the current legislation. And it says President Zelensky, by his decree dated November 3rd, dismissed Viktor Khorenko and appointed Serhiy Lupachuk as the new commander of the Special Operations Forces of Ukraine Armed Forces. Got that? My friends, a lot of garbage happens there. I think I put my man here to defend me from evil Zaluzny. Why? Because Zaluzny on the paper has the guns. So these guys are saying, okay, I'm going to get the commander, remove him. I don't know if the commander will agree with that, because I don't know if Zaluzny will allow that. If Zaluzny says nobody gets dismissed, I take over, Zelensky is going to be going to see Moses. Okay? So remember, that commander dismissed by Zelensky at the recommendation of the defense minister. Supposedly, this commander-in-chief of the armed forces is supposed to recommend Zelensky to dismiss. Now, which one is it? Because it seemed confusing here. Not confusing. There were two things right here. I'm going to go back to this. Right here. See this? The commander-in-chief is right up here. Is supposed to make the request for this. But he told me that he had not done so. I don't understand what has happened. And when the commander-in-chief, which is this guy here, Zaluzny, when the commander-in-chief was asked, what did he say? Where is it? Right here. I talked to commander-in-chief, who also could not explain this to me. The commander-in-chief is supposed to make the request. So this is only one time, and each and every, including this article in the bottom, they say, according to the, where is it, the whatever law, they said it somewhere here. I don't think they said it in this one. No, they didn't say in this. This is the only article where they did not mention this, according to law, Ukrainian law, national security, the commander, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know exactly what the legislation says over there, but you have, according to the guy who was at the receiving end, the commander, he asked Zaluzny, was I dismissed? I don't know, man. I didn't make the recommendation, but you were supposed to. Well, obviously someone else did it. Now you have the other side saying, no, in accordance with our national security, blah, 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 blah. The defense minister, the fat boy, is supposed to make the recommendation, and guess what? He did it. You're out. I'm going to look for, they put whatever, Marachuk, Kolochuk, Pakachuk. So Pakachuk is right now in law instead of this commander, because Pakachuk sucks that thing to Zelensky. So Pakachuk will order his army to fight Zaluzny when Zelensky orders. Guaranteed. 99% not guaranteed. That's what I think is going to happen. This Zelensky is going to break the military. And it's going to make two factions. It's going to be Ukrainians fighting Ukrainians. And the Americans right now try to avoid that by discussing with the Europeans and telling I made a video a few minutes ago regarding Americans and the Europeans trying to pressure and tell the Ukrainians, guys, you got to make some concessions, stop the war. Zelensky will not stop the war unless he remains in power. But it seems like Al Capone doesn't want Zelensky to stay in power. That's why right now he's fighting whomever wants to get his little dingy-lingy out of the contest. And we'll see. It's going to be bad. And I think we're going to see some eliminations. And when I say eliminations, I say eliminations. And I don't know who's going to be Zelensky, Zaluzny, these guys, maybe plus the defense minister, because it's clear there's two camps. Clear 99%. You'll see. History will absolve me. Who said that? Many bad people. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, be just.